Okay, so this is going to be a short video because I don't have that much time and the camera battery is dying. So I'm going to be reviewing More Than This by Patrick Ness. More Than This is an interesting book. It's basically about this guy named Seth who dies and wakes up in a strange world. It's hard to really talk about the book because one of the beauties of the book is that you kind of need to go in having no idea what's happening and then slowly learn. So basically we're introduced to Seth, who drowns, and he wakes up in a very strange place is pretty much all I can say. And he's basically trying to find out why he's here and what happened. And yeah, so basically there are two plot lines. There's the plot line of Seth where he wakes up in this strange world and he's kind of finding out what happened to this world and why he's here. And then there's his backstory, which is learning about how he got to where he is. It's really interesting because there's a lot of secrets about Seth, and sometimes you think you know something when in fact you don't. Seth's old life basically is surrounded by his mom and his dad, and his little brother, whose name is not with me right now. What was his name? Owen, Oscar. I don't know. He has a little brother, and there's something strange about the little brother because basically at the beginning of the book you get that there was something happened to his little brother that made him who he is, and he's supposed to be 12, but he doesn't act like a 12-year-old, and that's something that you're supposed to realize in the book. It's not something that like the author just doesn't know how to write 12-year-olds. It's like there's also his friends whose names I also don't remember. Okay, there's Monica. Monica? No, that's not her name. There's a girl. I don't remember her name. And then there's a guy named H, and there's a guy who starts with the G. I only remember the main character. It's a Norwegian name. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, as you've probably figured out by now. And basically, the relationship with his friend are very important because they definitely play a key role with it. So in the world that he's woken up to, we also meet these two other people whose names also are beyond me. Okay, there's Tomasz and Renee. I think that's her name, Renee, that he meets. And they have also their sad backstories, which are introduced. And I can't really talk about their backstories because a lot of this book is basically finding out about these characters, so to talk about them would ruin the book as well. This is a difficult book. Why did I choose to review this book? Okay, one of my favorite things about this book was how Seth would start thinking that this world was just a trick of his mind, and that the world wasn't real around him and he had just made it up. So he would say something like, if this is something my mind made up, then this would happen, and then it would happen. So an interesting part of the book is you read it and you're kind of like, is the world that he's currently in real, or is it something that his mind made up? Like, it's totally like this, it's like this Matrix feel to it, which I liked about it. Another interesting character is the driver, which is hard to talk about. Basically, he's this unknown entity thing that's driving around in the world. And he might be bad, he might be good, he's probably not human, he might be human, we're not sure. The thing about More Than This is that it leaves a lot of the stuff open for the reader to interpret. And the way it ends, you basically can decide what happens to Seth and his friends. You could give them a happy ending or a sad ending. This book isn't meant to be a full, just plain story. It's meant to make you think more about life and about how we perceive ourselves, and that feeling that there's always more than this, which, let me tell you, that is repeated a lot in the book, which is kind of cool, but also kind of cheesy. I think one of the best things about the book is Patrick Ness has this balance in telling the secrets of the character to the reader, and that they're not suddenly given to you straight away, and they're not slowed out so you have no idea what's happening in the book. They're given so you have an idea, and it's up to you to make the jump between this idea and then the second idea that you have. Basically, as you read, what you think you know about a character changes through the book. You're not really sure what to think of Seth, and as you you find he's a sad individual. He's burdened by a lot of things, and he's burdened by social conventions, and he's burdened by his parents who are angry at him for some reason or another. And a lot of about Seth is understanding why he died in the first place. At some points it's suggested that somebody killed him. There's a lot of serious themes that go on in the book as well. And I think it's probably one of my favorite Patrick Ness books, actually. Maddie, you might like this book. I don't actually know. I think you would. See you next week.